First things first, I want to bring the meeting to a roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Paskalakis?
Here.
Mr. Mayara?
Here.
Ms. Ramsey?
Here.
Mr. Phillips? Ms. Miller? Here. Ms. Trail?
Here.
Mr. Newman?
Here.
Mr. Chapin?
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of May 11, 2016. And I got to vote on it, please.
Not May. June 8th.
June.
Approval of the minute, May, as mine says.
No, that's
Oh, sorry, that's what you get. No, that is.
Who gave me the new ones?
That's what you sent me. You gave me trouble. You sent me. Sorry about that. You sent me. Thank you.
Mine say June 8th.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry. Okay. My fault. Approve the minute.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from June 8th.
Second. Motion approved. May 11th.
Mine say May 11th too.
Sorry about that.
Just we had a motion and a second, and then all in favor. I think we might have went a little fast through that one.
Yes, because sorry about that. Okay, so we got a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All in favor say nay. And nobody's opposing. Motion passed. Sorry, there is no. Can I get an update one, please? That's a May 11th.
No, it's June 8th at the top. And you're looking down here at May.
Yeah, that's approval.
Because that's for the June 8th meeting. They were approving the minutes from May 11th.
Yeah, May 11th. Okay.
It's right. You're right.
Okay, Mr. Berger, the redevelopment project update, please.
Okay. First of all, I have to apologize because I normally have at this point, we want to, on a regular basis, always have a code report and a police report to you, the CompStat report. That did not happen. We apologize. That just didn't get out in the mail. We'll get that to you so we have the coverage from the last time we received them and those weeks that we had it, and we'll have to put that out there. And I think I can put them also on the website, and we can add it to the to what's on the posting as well. So if the public wants to look at it, they can have access to the CompStat and the code report. So I'm sorry that wasn't ready. We had a little bit of holiday and vacation in there, and that just didn't happen. So with that, I'll let you know that 601 Main Street is, I think it's known as Bad Boys to a lot of people. And I just want to bring to your attention, we've really had problems with the homeless out there and in that particular place. And because it's been vacated, and while it's vacant, it's just really become an issue because there's quite an overhang there, and we have people assembling there and not leaving. And the owner has been out of the country, has returned now, and I've met with him, and I just want you all to know that's being addressed with the owner. I'm a little disappointed because when I met last Friday, the contractor was out there. We were going to get some things wrapped up and clean up that area, and there's a outside bar. That's got to go inside and get cleaned up. This is a hangover from Bike Week. It's not the only property that we have out there that's sort of a hangover of signage and other things that are out there. And what I've been doing is putting together a report so that code enforcement knows exactly what we need to do to fix up some of the problems we have there. But we want to do it so it's consistent, so all the property owners out there know exactly what the expectation is of keeping that street clean. Those windows, what we have out there to meet our redevelopment standards, which are not, you can leave the place dirty, you can leave it, you can cover the windows with a bunch of posters and walk away. You can't do that. So we're going to address that. Another major issue that's going on in Main Street has to do with the parking. We have people that are parking out or trying to park cars out there, are successfully. And so we're trying to deal with that as well, because we have areas that are not established as parking lots officially by the city. They're not licensed. We simply have people out there. And it may seem pretty simple for someone to say, go out there, stop it, but unless you can either get a court injunction or go through the code enforcement process and have it stop that way, there's not a way you can prevent. You can just document and send notices of violation regarding the properties. So we're going through that process now with some parking lots. This kind of relates to Bike Week, because Bike Week, when you get issues of being accused of doing something you're not supposed to do in the code, and you actually get a violation, now you're looking at not participating in Bike Week, and that's not a good thing. So you want to meet the code, and so we have a great concern about what's going on the street right now. We just want to make sure we're all playing by the same rules, and making it better than it has been, so that we can enjoy it out there year round. There are a lot of other issues that we still need to tend to, but those are the basic ones I want to bring your attention to. We're going to be doing some other work out there. You know, we continue to try to improve the lighting. We've replaced about 10 lights on Main Street closest to the ocean, because that salt air is just corroding them, and then we're working our way to the south with some of the replacements. Some of it's going to be painting that has to be done. So you'll see some continued improvements in that area. My pet peeve is we need to restain those planters that are out there and make sure that they're all in really good shape when you're walking down that street. And then finally, just let you know, the clock tower has been completed. I think at this point, my expectation is that we've been successful in getting enough grants that will cover the entire 100% of the cost, and the CRA will be reimbursed for the cost that we have fronted on that project. But it's done. It's beautiful. If you haven't been out there, you can see that it's been done in a manner that not only is it very structurally sound and for years to come, but it's also the kind of material that's being used in the mortar that was respectful of how it historically had been. So this is a big step for us, and we use a historic architect, a preservationist, to help do that. Same applies to the band shell. We're now well underway. If you go out there now, you'll see that we're doing the work on the coquina on the exterior. And then we've got another grant that we're using for upgrades on the interior of the building, with the bathrooms and all the other rooms that are inside that have probably been neglected for quite a while. And that will really improve the needs that we have when we have the bands that are there. Anyone that's using the band shell area, we need to have places to accommodate them, and not have it leaking and doing other things that you don't want to have. So that then we'll be 100% done on the band shell. We can focus elsewhere, but that's also state grant money that's paying for a large part of that project. So we're we're excited that we were able to accomplish all that because it's probably some of the landmarks that the people think of us when they take those pictures and bring them home. It's the postcard. So I hope not only our tourists but our local citizens get a chance to get out there and take a look at that boardwalk again. Don't look at the railings. We're still working on that part. Okay, it really is just a nightmare when it comes to trying to keep anything metal painted and not rusting. So you'll see we're working on it very slowly, railing one section at a time, and trying to get that anodized aluminum painted with the right product. Which we, by the way, we've found some products that are much more resistant to the salt. And so we're doing a little experimentation, but it's getting better. Okay, I'm sorry I went on there for as long as I did, but wanted to make sure that was all covered for you.
Thank you, Mr. Berger. Before we go to public comment, I just want to say something, Mr. Berger. Listen, what I've been hearing a lot from the tourists, a lot, I mean on a daily basis, is bathrooms and places to change. That is I'm going to insist on this because we can let them use all the bathrooms possible in all the stores. It gets clogged up, but we gotta have some places. I think we're the only community here in town. I mean, Daytona is the only one that doesn't have public more than the one that's on the Ocean Avenue and Main Street. And I think it closes a little bit early.
Right.
So, I know I hear it on a daily basis from people. They come in with the kids, families. There's not enough bathroom. I know the city put in a bunch of porta potty for the 4th of July on Ocean Avenue. I think that was a good idea. Doesn't look good, but it helped a lot. But I think we do definitely need to look into something like that. I mean, I'm sure anybody who, doesn't matter if it's a hotel, doesn't matter what it is, I'm sure if you ask them, they'll tell you that it's on a constant basis. People want to use the bathrooms. They want to use the bathroom all the time to change. And some of them they commented, said this is the only place that there's not a lot of public bathrooms. So that's what I want to do. Okay.
Can I ask something about that? My understanding, I heard this, and I don't know if this is a rumor or not. I understand that ground floor of the Hilton Hotel is actually owned by the city of Daytona Beach, and there were restrooms built in there for the public.
There are.
But Hilton closed them down and won't let the public use them.
We are in the process of getting back in contact with the Hilton and having that discussion again about the condition and the bathrooms. And I know there's been a lot of vandalism that I've seen in the center one. We tried that last year, and it was unbelievable. Some of the vandalism I saw personally that was going on in those bathrooms. And I think part of it is even when we try to open them before during events, when we're going to have a lot of people down on that area, because we can use all we can get, and we found that we're much more successful with the portables so far because of just the difficulty of maintaining some of these more permanent ones. And it's a little off the beaten path back along the Hilton. I mean, you'd really have to have some signage to really help people that are walking along there really know where they are. And but again, we have to go back and look at our agreements and say what can we do to improve upon the fact that there aren't enough bathrooms, but there's certainly one there that's sort of in the center that we should be able to.
Who cleans it and maintains it?
It's the Hilton that has the responsibility, and I think part of it is just clarifying the details of responsibility.
Wouldn't it make sense since it's the city's property, it just happens to be located underneath that hotel, that the city should maintain it like they do the other public
It's not city property, nor is the
ground floor of the Hilton's not city property. That was a rumor.
That the ground floor of the Hilton is not city property. There is a easement across there, and we've maintained some agreements and some rights, and we there's a breezeway through there where the building angles, and that also is supposed to be maintained open for the public. And that area, when you go through the Ocean Walk shops, that area is a public easement, and we have some agreements on that because we participated financially in these projects, and that was part of the give with the developers in improving those areas.
Well, wouldn't it be rather than constantly having them closed down permanently? Wouldn't it be better to have the city maintain them, and then the Hilton wouldn't care if they were open or not?
That may be part of the results of our discussions, but we wanted to open that back up because we've got a lot to talk about.
Well, they were open, and the city, they were open. Let's go back a little bit back in time. They were open to the public.
Yeah.
The Hilton was taking care of it. The police department was patrolling it, but there were some serious issues. There was a lot of bad things happening over there. And I think, I don't want to put my foot in but I think the Hilton decided to shut it down because it affected their customers. Because there was a lot of bad things.
There are actually cabana rooms right there where people's door to enter their room and their outside area that they sit in to enjoy part of their room right outside is literally right next to the two doors, because there's one door for women, one door for men. There's other bathrooms inside there. So you're basically sitting right next to a public restroom.
So it wasn't a good layout to start with.
Probably
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's when the budget was cut from the police department, where the boardwalk unit, there used to be a boardwalk unit, police officers, they used to walk. There used to be a boardwalk unit, there used to be 4 officers, 2 daytime, 2 nighttime. It was always clean area. When the budget was cut, it went south, and that's when the Hilton decided to shut those bathrooms. Because we looked into it to say, we got to open it, but you have to understand that it didn't look good for their customers, because let's just say that there was a lot of bad things happening.
And if you go way back in the beginning of the project for the Hilton, when it was Asmark and the Marriott, those were commercial spaces on the ground floor.
Yes.
And they were not successful, and they closed down.
Absolutely.
So there was a change there on that first floor ground level, and I think down the road maybe we can go back and see some change, but it's difficult trying to lease out any of the ground floor space that isn't right on the street and that area. This is not easy.
Is it just don't have the money in the budget to build additional restrooms?
Well, that's clearly the case. Whether it's the operations to hire police officers or the good news is the economy's getting better, and we may start to see an opportunity to start making those changes. But when it comes to the funding, the CRA used to pick up a pretty good tab for the policing in that area, the community policing. We now pay zero out of the CRA budget because we cut so much out in the last several years, and some things had to go.
And unfortunately, we did a big battle trying not to cut that part of the budget with that boardwalk unit, because it used to go all the way down. They used to walk all the way down from Seabreeze all the way down to Speedway.
Right.
And they used to know, it got to the point that the bad guys, the bad people, knew exactly what time was shift changed to do bad things. That's how clean it was. But when the budget was cut, they had to remove all those 4 officers, and that when things went.
Now, just in terms of not having those extra patrols, I can tell you that the police have ramped up some of their patrols. They get out in the morning. They're doing the sweeps. And so we're trying to deal with some of the issues that are out there on the boardwalk, but they're not going to be there on a constant basis. They're going to go out, do the sweeps early in the morning, and guess what? The problem comes right back
Right
an
back.
hour later or 2 hours
They
later.
go by bicycle with the
So-
segways. They go up and down, and as soon as they leave, it comes right back again.
Right. So that's not the more permanent solution. So we got work to do on that, but it's going to take some money before we're going to probably be able to tackle all of those things.
So you're
And
going to leave the porta potties for now? Or what are they called? Those things?
Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna have the during the week, I don't know, but on heavy weekends, I think this is really because we've got the band shell summer events on Friday and Saturdays.
Yeah.
That's really going to be the impetus to have those out there and the use that we need. We have if we're doing events out by Breakers Park.
It does
Same
serve the
thing.
purpose.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, it does serve the purpose. Let me tell you. I mean, it eases up from a lot of the businesses that have to let people use their, but at the same time, look-wise.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, let's go back. Let's go. Public comment, please.
First one is Mr. Nicholson.
Yes. Yes, please. Yes, please.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. Suzanne, we own the ground. Hilton has a 99-year lease. We gave them $10 million to help build with certain stipulations, one of which is the 4 bathrooms were with the city. They closed them 20 years ago. It had nothing to do with a lot of the other stuff. It is just that they're not like Ocean Walks. We gave them $7 million for their bathrooms. The time and the dates and all were never really ironed out. We just kind of like this, the bathrooms at Breakers Park. We have somebody coming out at 5:30 in the morning to open up one gate, and then another staff member comes back 45 minutes later and opens up another gate, and then an hour and a half later somebody comes back and opens up the bathroom. It doesn't make sense to me. If you open up the first gate, you might as well open up the bathrooms and the fishing gate at the same time. All right, but the staff doesn't do that. People have to stand around and wait. We have a problem with the parking. 4th of July weekend, talk to people. 8 years ago, Glenn Ritchie promised that the 3 parking studies would be revealed and that we would do so that when people come over from, it was a Memorial Day weekend, it was a zoo, high school graduation, Memorial Day, and there was no parking. And there was no law enforcement. So we were supposed to get a study, and it's been 8 years, and we still don't have it. I'm asking you to push it because 4th of July was not nice. All right? It's not rocket scientist. There's parking there. There's 5,000 parking spaces off of Main Street. We know where they're at, but people coming over have no idea. So we've got to do something on that survey. CRA funding. I ask every year for a budget. The other CRAs get it. The what is it, downtown, the DDA, they get a budget. They go through penny by penny by penny. You're getting a great deal of money, and I know that Jim is hiding money for something in the future. The Midtown got surprised. They did not realize they had $1 million sitting in their budget when Jim wanted to spend it on the Orange Avenue. They had no idea they had $1 million. You have money hidden. I have no idea how much it is. I'd like to know. It may be several millions of dollars. Maintenance. You have 17 people through 4 or 5 organizations cleaning up Beachside. You've got 3 city staff. You've got 3 CRA staff. You've got prisoners. You've got the street team. And you've got money from a DOT. All keeping up. But they all do the work at the same time. So if somebody drops a piece of trash at 8:01, it stays there for 24 hours until the next group comes by. Because they're like ducks. They all clean at the same time. So there's got to be some coordination so that at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, the trash cans get emptied. Take a look sometime at the corner of Ocean Avenue and Main Street. Those trash cans get filled, and they stay filled until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock the following day, and all of our tourists walk right past it. That's a very busy corner. We're missing our project manager. It's been 8 years since we lost our project manager. I know Reed says he's doing it, but we need a project manager. We're paying, basically, for 2 project managers for the other side. It's about time that we paid for one for our own side. We need it. They do all kinds of things. The project manager does brochures. They do meetings. They do all kinds of stuff. We need that here. We are more active than they are. We have more money than they do, and we do less than what they do.
John.
Yeah. Well, the clock's not running. Start the clock.
Start
the clock.
She's got
Yeah, I
it running
understand.
right there. I know.
Okay. And then we need to know about the projects, the Russians, what's happening with the Russians, what's happening with Hard Rock, what's happening with the lighting on Main Street. We were talking about that years ago.
Yes.
So those kind of things need to be discussed on a regular basis, what the update is. Thank you.
Can I ask a question now?
Sure, go ahead, please.
John, I have a question. Can you just expound a little bit on the 5,000 parking spaces, and we know where they are, but they're not open on the holiday? You're talking.
Well, they're open.
I know nothing about any of this. So what's?
Well, they're open, but what it is that nobody knows, and there's no, like when they had graduation for Bethune-Cookman College, they blocked off certain areas so that people couldn't leave where they would normally leave to go like to Seabreeze to get over. So everybody had to be funneled to Peninsula to get off. But
I don't understand what the problem is.
because we have parking up and down Main Street.
Okay.
We have Anderson, starting with Anderson's, like 305 parking spaces he ended up with. Not as many as he had, but he has about 300 parking spaces. But you've got much less than that?
Yeah, much less.
Ooh. So he has parking. Teresa's parking. There's parking up and down the street. We just don't coordinate to get people away from the ocean towards the river where they can park. A lot of people, if they knew they could just park there and walk, they would do it, but they're not told.
So are you thinking like signage would be helpful?
Or something in the paper. Miami does that when they have their urban festival. They put a map and they said this is where all the parking is. So people know in advance. If they're coming from the north, they not drive to the middle of all the garbage and then have to find their way to something that they've already passed.
Oh, okay.
So
Thank
we
you.
have the ability, but we've got like 5,000 parking spaces, but nobody knows it.
I don't think the 3-minute limit includes the questions, does it?
Yeah, don't worry. It's all right. Yeah, no, it's okay. Good. Next, please. Next person on the bit.
Amanda Marino.
Hello. Amanda Moreno, 412 Goodall Avenue. With the completion of the Speedway project and construction of One Daytona, it seems like new life is being given to West International Speedway. And with the announcement over the weekend of the thousands of new homes that are going to be built out off West ISB, there's so much excitement about what's going on over there. And it's Daytona, and so I'm excited too, and I love it. But East ISB, our communities, Main Street, we've barely got started. We just have enough steam, I think, maybe to do something that's really cool. And I'm worried everyone's going to start looking west again because it's pretty, because it's started, because it's got momentum. So I wanted to come here tonight and bring to you guys' attention that the community out there, my community, we don't really. This wasn't written, and I may regret saying this, but we don't really know what you guys do. We don't know how you represent us or what you guys are capable of and what we can come to you and get done. Give me just a moment. I'm out there, walking and looking at where murals can be, and Amy is, oh my God, doing her thing, and I've met you at so many, community meetings that I know what you're doing. And I know that you guys all must be doing things too, but I don't know what they are. And I'm a big spokesman for what these boards all do, and I don't know how to report what you guys do. So if you would like, I want to invite you to the South Atlantic Neighborhood Association meetings. I want to invite you to Beachside Neighborhood Watch, to any of the Seabreeze, meetings. I want you to come and let us know, or let me know, or let Amy know. And then, if you're not feeling challenged, we've got projects. We can work with you. So, and I don't want that to be disrespectful, but I honestly wasn't sure how to present this meeting to my community because I don't know. And the agenda is bones. So I want to bring that to your attention because you certainly must be working hard, and we should know what it is. Okay.
So I guess the question is, what is this board about?
I've read the description, but what do you guys feel compelled to do? What is it you do? What is it you bring to the yeah? What do you do?
What do we do? Okay. We're limited to what we can do, but we're an
Yes.
advisory board.
Yeah, I know
First of
that.
all. So what it is we hear, I guess, any project over X amount of square foot comes in front of us. And then we advise on it. And
Correct.
then we hear the public, their opinion about it.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you say you have a lot of project in mind, you have a lot of things.
Well, and you guys do too. I believe it was you that brought up Adopt a Street 2 months ago. I don't.
My idea, but I
Well, sure, but yeah. And I left the meeting going, oh my God, that's awesome.
And that's one of the things you do is spread awareness.
Right. And so have you looked into anything about that?
That, as far as I know, has not moved forward.
Okay. And then at the same meeting,
Yeah.
you brought up that you were going to talk to the stores in your area about their windows,
Yes.
and so
A
I
lot
would
of it-
love
a lot
an
of it is
update.
done except one that Linda told me about. More than one, but there was one that the owner is not in town, he's out of the country, and I got into it with the manager, but there was one that you made mention to me last time. That one. But
I've walked there, and I actually have seen improvement, and I didn't know if it was wishful thinking, but I was like, wait, these windows look a little different, and they look kind of nice.
Yes.
So
I
that kind of stuff is really cool. That's what we would love to hear and see, or you don't have to write that stuff down, but that's what we would love to hear. That's what you're working on. That's what you're doing.
That's an update that we give you. But as far as the power that this board has, I just want to make sure for you to understand.
I don't think any of us think that you guys are super powerful. What we just want is partners. Is partners that you guys know things I'll never know. And it would be really cool if you wanted to come out and let us know what it is you're working on and what you're doing. And maybe ask us what we'd like and what we're doing, because we're you. We're just not here.
No, I understand that, but I guess what I'm trying to tell, look, I'm working on a project on the Beachside, okay? Those are personal projects. To make the community, like I said earlier to everybody here, I said, we all work on the same thing. We're trying to make a community better.
Okay.
The only difference is people are going about it the different way.
Right.
But we all want the same thing.
I agree.
I want the same thing you want. I got kids. I want this community to be a nice community, livable. Believe me, that's what
I know.
So I'm working on different projects as far as the Beachside is concerned, and that is, it doesn't matter if it's building buildings, doesn't matter if it's beautification of other buildings, investing money in different things.
Okay.
That's what. But a lot of people have a concept of this board as.
I think you're right. And I think just hearing you,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, so we should only come when there's...
No, you should not come when there's only. You should come whenever you feel like it.
Sure, but...
Hear your opinion about it. What we can do is turn it around and send it back either to the planning board or to the commissioners.
Okay.
That is,
So you want our ideas. You don't bring ideas.
Oh, we do bring ideas, but the ideas, everybody here was working on different ideas. But everybody has their own thing working on. It doesn't matter if it's me working on building a strip center, a modern Art Deco strip center, or it doesn't matter if it's Mr. Paspalakis that's trying to build something else. It doesn't matter if it's Teresa trying to work on beautification of the Hilton, or other people trying to do something. We're all working on the same. We're all getting to the same. We want to get to the same goal. We're just going about it in different directions. That's all.
Can I make a comment? I think I understand what.
Yeah, I think
I
so-
understand what
yeah.
Amanda's asking.
Yeah,
okay?
that
Let me
would
just see
be
if
good.
I can put my interpretation on
Okay.
this. Okay. I've been on this board now for over 4 years, and the reason I've been on it so long, I think I'm in my 5th year now. You can only serve 2 consecutive terms on this board. But when I was asked to be on this board, I was the design professional seat, and they can be on the board indefinitely as long as they're voted on by the commissioners to serve the next term. So as a result of that, I've been on this board probably longer than anybody. And the first board I sat with, I think it was the first or second session board meeting that we had, I saw great potential for this board as an idea, concept,
That's
workshop,
precisely-
working
that's what I
board,
thought,
creating
too.
ideas. And I suggested that. And I was reminded that this was just an advisory board, and and I suggested to the second, every time the board changes, the majority, I will bring that idea up, because that's my idea what this board could do to be really productive for the
That's
community.
what I thought, but I'm
and let's
getting that
change the Beachside and
that I
make it something great.
misunderstood. Right.
You need to be proactive.
Right.
This board, historically, in my opinion, has always been a reactive board. A project, a development wants to come to get approval. The first board they have to come to, if it's in the CRA area, they have to come here. And we provide that service, and we provide a good service doing that. But that's a reactive board. My suggestion is, especially now, we're having meetings even when we don't have anything on the agenda. Any nights that we don't have anything on the agenda, this is one of the reasons I was so against the 3-minute speaking limit. I think on the nights that we do not have an agenda, and I'm going to make this proposal to see if we can get a vote on this, I suggest we open this board up as a creative workshop and let people in the audience and the board members participate and bring all the wonderful ideas we all individually have to make a really great difference on the Beachside. And that's what I suggest this board become, on the nights we don't have an agenda. That's my suggestion.
Go ahead, Mr. Berger.
I think for everyone's benefit, I want to repeat what the Land Development Code says, the establishment of this board, and what it was granted as a redevelopment board from the City Commission. And that is that the Beachside Redevelopment Board to serve the Main Street redevelopment area and the South Atlantic redevelopment area. Its powers and duties are as follows, and this is the same with the other redevelopment areas. So it has the general powers to adopt rules governing its proceedings, conduct public meetings, call special meetings, and create committees to help carry out its powers and duties. Now, to carry out any other powers and duties that are delegated to it by the City Commission in accordance with the state law. Now, what are your powers and your duties specifically that you can address? And that is to decide applications for a development permit that comes to our office, to decide appeals. And some of those applications for development permit was that mural that we had with the American flag on Main Street, for example. It's part of the code.
Graffiti Junction, yes.
Yes. So the other one is to make recommendations, and this is really the most important part of what this board's core role is to make recommendations on applications for a development permit. These usually are going to the planning board and the city commission with advice from this board, with a recommendation. And that is for general zoning district map amendments, site-specific zoning district map amendments, historic overlay zoning district map amendments, plan developments, and special use permits. And so,
And that's it.
and that's
That's
it,
it. Okay.
in terms of
Okay.
everything that's in
Then
the
I
code.
did misunderstand what this is and what you guys are, I guess, I don't, so I will report
Amanda-
that to my community.
Amanda, let me just say this. I think that I really thank you for that. 'Cause
I
that,
do too.
That
Now,
clarifies
yes,
it. I
yes.
thought this was something that we could, as the board, vote to do.
Yeah.
And I see now it cannot. So what I would suggest is that any of us that think this is a good idea, let's go to our commissioners and our mayor who give us the authority to do what we do on these boards and see if we can get it, be allowed to do that. And that's who we would take it to, right, Reed?
That's correct, because you're really talking about
Changing.
right. Otherwise, what typically is happening, a recommendation from you, if you've got a concern and you want to raise it, the next thing for staff to do is report it back up the chain of command to the city manager's office.
Exactly.
And so then he can have the conversations, and he's aware of it, and have the conversations with commissioners who might be hearing from others as well. So that that's the way it works. I would say I think what the passion is, we got to do some things out there. There's a lot of capital projects that don't come before this board that you're going to see. Now, if I know about them, I'm going to report them, in a report. It's This is a place for information and free-flowing information back and forth, and we have that opportunity. The next thing for us to address is that people care about the budget and the money, and where's the money and how do we do this? There's a community redevelopment agency. You always hear CRA. Mm-hmm. That community redevelopment agency is the city commission, and it is the elected officials that address questions of the budget and expenditures and what have you. And there's a staff has administrative requirements of what it does to carry out. Just like for the city itself, we have to on a day in and day out basis take care of the expenditures. Maintain the areas as best as we can. Submit budgets. And ultimately, it will be the city commission acting as the CRA, which will make all of these decisions about these projects. Okay. Is that
Okay.
helpful?
Well, I'm really glad that we all had that conversation because
Good question.
now I get it.
Amanda, I would suggest that whoever has ideas and concepts that you would like for the boards to consider, I would just go directly to the commissioners and the mayor.
Well, I do, and so I started wondering why do I go to this? Why am I speaking at this one? Like, I didn't know, but now I.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on deck, please.
Cheryl House.
Well, with that conversation, this might be moot, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm Cheryl House. I live at 145 North Halifax. Welcome back. Would you give everyone one of these? Talking about ideas and things that we could take to the City Commission. All of us have ideas, and I think that we all want the same thing, and whether or not we can go about it through this board or the City Commission or whatever, we need to get on board with a project. We've got to start someplace, and it's my opinion, and I would love to see us start right across the street from our Ocean Center. This is the big money maker, and if you look at the flyers that I'm passing around, between Bike Week and the 93 or $92 million that the Ocean Center brings in it did from fiscal year 2014-2015, and the number of participants that come there, I think it makes sense to start there on the east side of the Ocean Center, which is what Reed just talked about. They're maintaining the beach, they're maintaining the clock tower and the band shell. Activities are going on east of there. It's great. It's been developed. It looks wonderful. But when you walk out of the Ocean Center and you look west, north, and south, it's the pits. And we all know that the beach side, from Surfside all the way up to Seabreeze, needs to be rehabilitated in a big way. And I think we can do that, but we have to have a plan and we have to start someplace. And to me, we need to start where the money is, and that's where the biggest number of people are. They congregate there. There's huge events there every week. Last week there was a circus, and none of us even knew about it. I mean, it's amazing how little it's advertised. We read everything in the paper about all the crimes and all the bad things, but we don't read about the good things that are going on in the city and how much money that we are bringing in, how much money our tourists are bringing in, and the impact that it has on our budget and on our city. And I feel like if we start someplace, and of course, I believe as you walk out of the Ocean Center, you can see the lagoon on one side. That's as far as anybody wants to go. It's a block there. Earl Street is an untapped jewel. It could be the start of something great. We could take Earl Street. It's a short block. It's not, or 2 blocks. I mean, it's a short little street. We could develop Earl Street into something that would then take you down to the river, just a corridor from the ocean to the river, and from there, north and south, and just expand our recreation of the beachside in each direction. And now's the time to do that. Real estate is still reasonably priced. We went on a tour the other day of the 101-year-old church that's located on Earl Street. And I've driven by it like all of you and kind of ignored it because it's not exactly attractive from the outside, although I believe 100 years ago it was. When you walk inside that church, it is absolutely beautiful. The stained glass windows and the interior is well maintained. It has the original floors, the 10 ceilings. It is a beautiful church. On that property, there's an acre and a half of property. It includes parking. It has a 2-story schoolhouse or classroom building, and it also has a parsonage that's 3 bed, 3 baths, I believe. But I feel like if we would just take Earl Street and start there, we could draw some of the tourists on into the community. And then we could have a walkable community where you walk up Earl Street, down Halifax by Millionaires Row, and put some signs with the history of each of those buildings. There's a magnificent history there. And then you turn again onto Main Street, go back up Main Street towards the Ocean Center. We have the cemetery, Pinewood there. What wonderful history there is. And it's a living tribute to the people that have founded this city and have brought about change. And I think that we need to honor that history. And it's rich, and it started right in this core tourist area. And even the people that live here don't know the history. I came from a different state, and when I read about the property I live on and the history of Batista and Ransom Olds and all of those beautiful homes there on Halifax, I was just amazed that there's not even a plaque anywhere that gives any kind of indication that this was a spot where very famous people lived. I think it's the time that we do something with Earl Street. And I know we don't have a lot of money, but that church is one hell of a bargain. And if somebody wanted to do something in other cities, Portland, Oregon, I go there frequently, they have turned churches into some really cool places. They have all kinds of different restaurants, businesses, homes. There's just a number of things that are done with these beautiful old churches. And I would love to see somebody take that under their wing. But now a realtor that's in our audience tonight, she showed it to us, and an investor that I know. And the property is only $500,000. That's a lot for 17,000 square feet of church and all of those buildings and parking. I mean, that's a huge chunk of land for that price. And if an individual doesn't want to take it on because the restoration and the revamping, bringing it up to code, all that stuff would be so expensive, why can't we as a group ask our city commissioners to buy it? If they don't want to, maybe the county would want to buy it. Somebody needs to buy it, and somebody needs to start somewhere on Earl Street. And we could do some cool things that wouldn't cost a fortune. Obviously, the sidewalks and landscaping and the lighting has to be brought up to a better standard than what it is. The one patch by the Ocean Center is decent, but that's it. if we could extend it down, put flags of international flags on each of the posts, make it inviting. Music. If we had, we don't have restaurants there, but if we had those those carts, what are they called? Food trucks, yeah, with different international kinds of food on them. They could buy the food and have a free ticket to go into the church and sit and eat in there. It's a beautiful place to sit, and they could listen to music. I mean, there's just a number of things we could do to start and make money. And then as it progresses, maybe we could take some of that money, turn that parsonage into a gift shop or a small business or something that highlights Daytona. We have a lot of Daytona crafts and arts and artwork in this city, and it's not available to the average tourist. They can't just walk down the street and pick up a couple things that have some memorabilia, and it could be. And I think if we as a group decide that we want to start somewhere, I mean, Surfside spinning their wheels. We want our community nice. Seabreeze doing the same thing. And then there's Linda and I and Smith's Memento going, holy God, we're the only ones that have nothing done in our area. I think we should start in my area, not because it's my area, but because it makes sense. That's where the money is. That's where the tourists are. And it's where everything originated in this city, and it's where it could grow from there, both north and south. So that's my idea.
Okay.
Oh, you can have the whole thing. This is you guys are all familiar with this.
Yeah.
That's what I printed those out.
So just to answer a couple of your doubt questions that you had. It is a beautiful piece of property. It is unbelievable. The price is unbelievable. We did look at it. Me and a couple other people looked at it. The only thing about it is that you cannot. You got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. Fortunately, the Ocean Center stopped on Hollywood. They were supposed to go all the way down to Peninsula. So after $92 million, they stopped. Froze everything up. But if you look at the plans, they were supposed to continue to Peninsula. The number two things I'm going to tell you, and that is a great idea, is the food cart. Fortunately, not in the city of Daytona. No city ordinances. You cannot put food carts in Daytona.
Okay.
It's something that I came up with. Believe me, good trucks, good food,
Okay.
very good food trucks that can go up and down.
Well, they have them in the festivals over on Beach Street.
Yeah, temporary, yeah.
Well, this would be temporary.
Yeah,
when
no.
there's an event at the Ocean Center for that day, bring them out
Yeah.
and then put them back
Yeah.
where they belong. I don't mean to be there all the time, just when the Ocean Center is bringing in the Shriners in 2017. Where are they going to eat? They're going to have to go to Ormond. They're going to have to go south or out on ISB. Why can't they eat in our neighborhood and bring their money there?
I think the restaurants that are there, the permanent restaurants, would have a great deal problem with that because it takes business away from them.
Well,
I'm guessing.
No, I don't think so. I think there's a lot more room for more restaurants.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. It's very simple. I think it's Mr. Nicholson that came up with it. It's very simple. We got 500,000 people. We got 100,000 parking spots. It's the same problem with the restaurants. We get so many people, there's not enough restaurants. Right. There is not enough.
So they wouldn't consider competition?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There just got to be something different.
Okay.
Something different. That's why when you talk about food cart,
Right.
I came up with a concept, I think I would say about 8-9 years ago. And if you look at Hollywood, some of the places in the South, I don't want to say, but the weekend they have these food trucks.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's a husband and wife, or it's a Cuban food, or this kind of food, and they go
Right.
up and down the streets, and
Right.
it's just like a big party everywhere.
Right.
But in the city of Daytona, they're not allowed. I can tell you that.
Well, if it's a temporary thing, maybe you could get around it because it
again,
wouldn't
I want to
have
come back
be.
to what the young lady was saying. That what you were saying. I want to say this to you because ideas. There's a ton of ideas. But they're only from ideas that, and believe me, and I'm going to tell you what I do when I have ideas. I go straight to the source. What happens after, it's out of my hand. Because you can come up with all the ideas you want, but you still got to deal with the planning board, you still got to do the city committee. But like she said, the best thing to do is to go straight to your commissioners. But where does it go after that?
Well, we do
needs
that.
It needs
but
votes. That's what
commissioners have an agenda. I mean, they obviously have built the Sweetheart Trail, which I'm thrilled is there. I mean, you know, money is going in over on Beach Street. Beach Street's looking good. It's coming back to life. Beachside is still stagnant. And we as a group, whether or not you can pass anything or not pass anything, I love your food truck idea. I think it makes sense. Until we establish little houses that are turned into little restaurants or tea shops or whatever, you know. But it makes sense to give people a place to go. People can spend their money there, and it will keep it in our neighborhood.
I want to tell you a slogan that I came up with 7 years ago. What do we want to be when we grow up?
What?
What do we want to be? What do we want to be in this time when we grow up? What do we want to be? What kind of town do we
I want to be New Smyrna. I love going down there because the streets are bricked with engraved bricks, and they have one little dress shop and cute little restaurant after the other. And I want to be New Smyrna when I grow up.
New Smyrna 10 years, 15 years ago.
Wasn't nice. It wasn't nice.
So, but
Yeah.
every time we in Daytona Beach come up with some concept, or we come up with some ideas, we come up with some things, you know, there's always blockage. You say about why tourists don't go past a certain area?
Right, they're afraid.
Well, I want to tell you what that is. That is certain people are responsible for that because I want to say, and Carrie, I think you're going to correct me on this. There were some commissioners that blocked the streets. And, you know, when they put those blocks so people cannot go past Grandview, yeah. Remember when there was passed where people were complaining that the tourists were going on the residential area?
That's up north of Seabreeze.
Yeah, I know.
They shut all those streets off.
Yeah, but I think it was Darlene Jordan that came up.
That was before my time. I'm not. Yeah.
But anyway, there was a lot of blockage, and if you see,
You know.
there was a lot of blockage where we blocked, you know.
Yeah.
And I've been fighting to open all the way down to Halifax. Let people go down there.
Absolutely. Well, there's always going to be the opposition, but maybe the time is right now. ISB is beautiful all the way up to us, and then it stops. And now I think is the right time. It's just, if it's not now, when? It'll never be.
Like you said earlier, when you started, you said we all want the same thing.
We do.
We all want the same thing. We're
Yeah.
just going about it a different direction.
Yeah. Well, we need to get organized, and I will be the ringleader if you'll come over to Earl Street.
And
I guarantee you.
And I'll tell you what, there is not a better person in this room right now that knows anything about it except Mr. Nicholson right there. He's been fighting it for 20 or 25 years.
Yeah, but
And he knows. So,
sometimes people, their eyes glaze over when they've heard it before and they don't want to hear it again. Maybe we need a fresh approach and a fresh face and a fresh idea and start someplace. And it's a small street. If we could conquer one street, I guarantee you it would move on out.
thank you. Next on deck, please.
Amy Pyle.
Hey, Amy.
I know this is probably not 20,000 square feet, but I'm going to have to. Some of you got an email. I don't know if you want one or not. I don't know. I don't know if anybody saw my email, but I figured so I can just make my first little comment really quick. I would just hand this out and then we can talk about it.
Thanks, Cal.
I know I got 150 seconds, right? Yeah. Okay. I have submitted, Amy Pyle, 136 South Grandview Avenue. I have submitted a request to put an item on the agenda, if it's appropriate, asking the city to approve the sale of 4 residential properties in the Surfside Village Historic District. Information to substantiate the request is in a PDF you have before you. If a discussion happens tonight, I welcome it after my 150 seconds is up. Number 2. At the last commission meeting, I asked about the residents being on the Biketoberfest master plan as required. I just today learned that the meetings and committees are publicized via the Daytona Visitors and Convention Bureau website, DaytonaBeach.com. So simple to tell me that 2 months ago when I asked about it, but nobody seemed to be able to give me that information until today. No resident representatives were in attendance at the meeting where they decided on the Biketoberfest master plan, and there was no apology or explanation why. The master plan was approved anyway by the commission. It is not posted on the site until after the commission approves it. So nobody really gets to see it unless you are actually at that meeting. I think in the future, the master plan is something that should be made available for public review, and then the Main Street portion of the master plan should come before this board for advisement to the commission. I would also like someone to look into the adherence to the sunshine law when a quasi-governmental committee is randomly appointed without any real city oversight or public notification. Are the minutes publicized or available for review? And I'm talking about the meeting that occurred, you may know about it. Okay. My next item, Mr. Mayara, I know you are as concerned as I am about Daytona Beach's image to visitors, and you just discussed some of the things that are going on in your personal projects and what everybody's working on and how much beautification we're doing, and the windows are improving and everything. But, and I'd like to say it's nice to see that property at 157 is getting work on. I saw it got pressure washed. I saw some stucco repair. It's been looking pretty bad for a long time, 157 South Atlantic. And the ones on either side of it. But I'd like to know when you plan to paint the buildings, and even more importantly, to bring the properties up to standards regarding the interior view that is visible to passersby. Also, when will you repair the fence on the south side of the parking lot between the Roomba and A1A there? It's been a long time since the last hurricane.
Okay. Let's go back to the 157.
Okay.
The 157 is being worked on. There's a permit that was pulled. Okay, just for your
A
information.
permit for stucco?
For everything. You have to have a permit. Anything you do, any kind of work,
Okay.
you have to have a permit.
To clean up the inside of the buildings and
Let's talk about the outside first, and then
okay.
we go to the inside. Let's talk about the outside first. First things first. The building has been vacant for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There was supposed to be a big development coming in. People been paying rent from Ocean Avenue. There was a big project that was supposed to go from the Roomba all the way down to the Seaview, if you know the area, all the way down to A1A and come back. Okay? There was a big developer, but he backed off. Okay. Now, the stucco was done. Done. Now we're waiting for the company to come back and do a second coat to do the stucco and paint it. Now, the inside. The inside is going to be done. It's going to be covered the windows, so you don't have to go by and look at the windows there. Okay? As far as the fence, there's a company that leases the parking. That's their responsibility. I sent them a letter.
Okay.
Okay?
Because it's been like 5 years like that.
No, it hasn't been 5 years like that. It's not true.
All right.
No. They fixed it 3 times. And 3 times people ran with their cars in it. And 3 times I sent them letters, and they themselves fixed it. I just sent them a letter about 60 days ago asking them to fix it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Not a problem.
I walk by
Anytime,
it
sure.
every day.
Sure.
So I watched them fix 2 posts about 3 or 4 months ago. But the entire thing never really got fixed. So
Okay.
I'm glad to hear that it's going
Not
to
a
look
problem.
nice, because that's something that, we're working on that Kemp Street beach access. And it's a very, that section
Just
of
to
A1A.
let you know about that beach access,
Yeah.
that was private property. That was donated to the city. That was my
But it
property.
belongs to the city now.
Yeah, but that was donated
Let's
to the
not talk about the past.
No, I understand that, but what I'm trying to tell you is that that piece of land right there was given to the city for the city to take care of it.
Right?
Yeah, the city hasn't been taking care of
Right,
it.
and I'm urging them to do that.
Okay.
So thank you for
You're very welcome.
for your gracious donation.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
Amy, I have a question. Regarding all these other properties and I just saw this report, so
Okay.
this is something I think obviously you have to take to the commission.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
know that. I just, and I'm trying to follow procedures, so
Oh,
I
I
didn't
really
know if
thank
you
you.
guys have
Oh, no.
to say, yes, I think this is
No,
this
I
is a good
appreciate
idea
you
or
bringing
not.
it to us so we can be a part of it. I thank you very much for it.
Okay.
I was just going to say, I think
And there's a lot here, so
to get it
review at
done.
your heart's content, and as long as I see that, it's at least being considered. And the last line on this says that, kind of sums it up. It says, if any of these items are not something the city will consider, I respectfully ask for a clear explanation why not. So that's not too much to ask once
Thank
it does
you.
get before
Thanks.
the city. So, thanks.
Thanks.
Next on deck.
Linda Smiley, I'm sorry.
Linda Smiley, 357 Manhattan Avenue. Okay, Amanda hit on what I was wondering, exactly what you guys do. And so I got some answers, I guess. First of all, I'd like to say, I don't know what your title is.
I'm office specialist 2 and I'm filling in for the board secretary.
Okay, because you were really kind of rude when this man was talking, I felt.
I'm sorry you felt like that. I was just.
No, you were more than that. But watching the clock and so forth, and other people have been able to other people have been able to ramble right along, and you didn't do anything. I'm just saying what I noticed.
Let's go on with the subjects, please.
Okay. I'm interested in the project that she just spoke about, or that you spoke about, that goes to Seaview, that you said the developers, that's on hold or something. What kind of project was that?
I'm not at liberty to talk about it.
Okay.
There was I'll tell you what it was. It was a two big hotels. It was supposed to come in from the Roomba to the Seaview all the way down to A1 and come back.
Seaview down by Bel Air Plaza?
No, Seaview Hotel.
Seaview Hotel.
Where Ocean Avenue starts.
Okay.
There used to be a hotel there called Seaview.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, there's a big difference because I live near a street called Seaview, and I thought, whoa, that's a really big project then.
No, it's on Ocean Avenue. It was
That's
from
like really,
Ocean
really
Avenue.
big.
I called the Seaview Hotel because there used to be a hotel there.
Okay. All right. How about, do you guys have any update on what's going on with the Hard Rock Hotel? Anything? You don't know anything? Because I'm hearing that they're giving money back, and other people are saying no. So I was just wondering, is that something that you
I
know
think
about?
they're going through and trying to reset some of the
missed the
commitments, and they've got there are certain commitments that are made for rooms. They're out there actively trying to secure enough commitments on that end, and at the same time, their concern was also the issue that was the beach driving.
Okay.
And so those are two major issues for them as they look at when they're going to pull the trigger. Part of it's the market. Part of it is that legislative issue on the beach.
Okay. All right. So for you, Mr. Berger, I have a question for you is, how long do you just send letters to these violators that you were talking about earlier in the beginning of the meeting? You said that you send letters to these code violators and stuff.
No, I don't send letters.
Well,
Code
somebody
enforcement does.
Okay.
Sure.
So how long do you do that before something actually happens, or does anything ever happen? They
There's
just send the letters and
no,
they go into some
it's a process.
box.
It's a process. Code enforcement has a process, and they have typically 30 days on a notice of violation, depending on the extent of the issues. If it's public safety, that may be a different timing. But I would tell you that the process is going to go through a code enforcement board, magistrate, and those are public meetings held right in this room, where if there are people that are violating the code and don't address it promptly, they might end up here and appealing their case or whatever they need to do, but they have due process.
Okay.
We simply can't make people stop on the street, even though I can see that they're doing something that I think is totally a violation of the code. I can just inform them, and what we try to do, short of having that written letter to somebody, is a lot of times you get people to do the right thing by simply going out there and communicating to them face to face. Go, there's a problem. That cures a lot of the issues that you'll see out on there, and you get voluntary cooperation by people. But at the end of the day, we have to turn these issues over to the code enforcement.
Okay, so that's something for the
Okay.
commission then, because the way that they handle code right here in this town is really poor. Okay, what choices for materials for the rails that you were talking about on the beach are available? I mean, they've got those metal rails down by the boardwalk, and you said they're working on them. Don't look at them because they're ugly, they're bad, and you're repairing one section at a time. You were talking about. So I was wondering what materials could be used down there that maybe wouldn't rust or corrode, or do we have choices?
Well, it's not about the material itself. It's about the coating that adheres to it and doesn't come off right away. We have identified some. We've used them. Those the lights that are out over A1A that look like they're over a pool table to me, but they're nautical lights. And we have expended a lot of money for painting that metal because it's a special paint. It was used down at the Space Center, and that helped them there. And they brought that product over from being used in Japan, where they have some similar high salt content. So. So far, what we're seeing in the field is it has good success, and so we're trying to look at some applications here. I don't know the technical, name for these things, but
All right. And the dirt lot that's on the corner of Main Street and A1A, how long is that dirt lot going to be allowed to be there like that? That looks so horrendous. Why is George Anderson being allowed to collect money there all these years? And what is the rate for that lot? Because I read $8 and I read $15. So which one is it?
Okay. I'm gonna answer you what I know about.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna go. First things first. That's a big project that went downhill because of the economy going downhill.
That lot's been there. I used to work at the McDonald's that was there. That was the highest grossing McDonald's in all of Volusia County.
Month of March. Eli owned it. I know. Trust me. I know exactly what you're going to tell me.
It's been there 30 years.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah. But you know why they closed it? Because Eli was losing money. He was making money 1 month. 1 month out of the year was the highest grossing McDonald's in any other chain in the United States. Okay. But let's go back to the lot. That lot is there's big issues with that lot because number one, I'm going to talk about the development of it. The development of it it's not worth the money that people have in it now.
Gotcha.
You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Mm-hmm. Number two, everybody goes through due process to charge parking. There's a license, there's a permit, the city issues it. There is, everybody goes through that. So that they went through it. How long is it going to be there? I don't have that answer for you. But I can tell you that, a lot of people are asking the same question: how long? But,
Well, who does have that answer? Who does have that answer?
I don't think anybody has that answer.
Well, I mean, doesn't the city have some sort of ordinance against that?
Let me change my hat for a second. I'm going to talk to you why is a piece of property not being developed? Okay, I'm just going to give you, and you're going to understand. Before the 7 years that there was downhill, anytime the property was paid for, the bank would give you 100% financing. Now they're asking you to put in at least 50 to 60% financing. Does that answer some of the questions? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I know to you it might not be something but for a project like that is a big project, and
it's been so long I don't even remember what the darn project was supposed to be, and probably none of you do either. But I was born and raised. I was born and raised here.
The city has blueprints. Everybody has, everybody. It's a beautiful. It's a good project. It's a beautiful project. It would make Daytona beautiful again, but.
Well, I mean, I grew up here, and I know what Main Street used to be like, and it was a vibrant, happening place.
I agree with you.
And now it looks like a poop hole. It's ridiculous.
All I can tell you,
and it's embarrassing. You don't want to bring anybody here.
All I'm able to tell you about that piece of property is that it is worse for the owners than for us that we have to look at it. Because that's a lot of money sitting not doing anything.
Oh, he's making money. $8 to $15 a pop. He's making money.
Don't want to think you want to see the property taxes on that. Next on deck, please.
Deborah Dronigan.
I'm Deborah Jarnigan. I live at 1208 North Halifax. I was a lady who's got some really nice ideas was here speaking earlier, and she mentioned something about she would like Daytona Beach to aspire to be New Smyrna, and I have to strongly agree with her. I was born and raised in Daytona, but I lived in the New Smyrna area for 30 years, and I have to respectfully disagree with you, sir, because you said 10 years ago New Smyrna was terrible. It wasn't. It was awesome.
I didn't say terrible. I said 10 years ago, New Smyrna, it's not what it was today.
It was great. I lived there. I lived there for 30 years. Now, there was damage from the hurricanes in 2004, but other than that, it was awesome. The reason it was awesome is because they held on to who they were. The residents have much more control over what happens in the city of New Smyrna. Their slogan is "Save the Charm," and that's what they've done. They are very neighborhood-centered, although they welcome tourism. They recently enacted a height limit because they realized that in order to save the charm, they needed to put a height limit. It was starting to get out of hand with the high-rises. They preserve their charm in that they value their history, as the lady here mentioned. They preserve their history. They actually use that as a selling point, if you will, for people to come visit. And they have featured a lot of their historical homes and properties. They preserve their charm in that they still have beach driving. Imagine that. This wonderful, successful town, when everybody says beach driving is such a bad thing, but they still have it, and yet they've preserved their charm, their history. People love going there. They have traffic backed up to 95 from Orlando coming there every weekend and every holiday because people from the middle of the state love New Smyrna. The reason they love it is because New Smyrna has held on to what it always was, and that's what Daytona did not do. So I think we're very smart to aspire to be New Smyrna, but in order to do that, we need to quit giving away who we are. We need to get back to who we were and preserve it from then on out. Not let any developers come in and tell us, this is what you need to be, this is what you need to be. No, we need to be who we were and hold on to it the way New Smyrna has. They're a great town to emulate because that's what they've done. And I just wanted to praise this lady for mentioning that because I totally agree with her.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next on deck, please.
I have no one, sir.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're going to pass the board comment, please. Comment. Ms. Miller, please.
Well, I'm really pleased that all the residents are coming to these meetings and talking and all your ideas. And I think you have to continue the conversation with your commissioner.
And microphone. Check the microphone.
Sorry. Is it on now?
Yes. Thank you.
Continue your conversations with the commissioner and with anybody else in the city because you can see all of the development that has happened on the mainland side, downtown and midtown, and even further to the west, and nothing is happening here. And so we just really need to put a lot of pressure on everybody that we can. And I agree that Earl Street is a perfect place to start because it's short and it's terrible, and it wouldn't take much to improve it. So I hope we do that. So let's put the pressure on that.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. Teresa?
Not much. I always appreciate everybody coming out and sharing their thoughts and ideas and all those types of things. And other than that, I really don't have much. So, thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. You want to go ahead, please?
No comment, please.
No comment, Chris? Go ahead, please.
No comment.
No comment. I guess I want to just make a couple of comments, and I guess it's to, first of all, thank you to all the residents for coming in, and I hope, people were able to answer some of the questions that you had. Again, I guess what I'm trying to say, we all geared up, we're all going through we all wanted the same thing for the community. Doesn't matter if it's keeping our identity. It doesn't matter if it's developers coming in. It doesn't matter if it's opening up Earth Street. We all want the same thing. We can sit here and everybody can share ideas, and we're all going to come up to the same thing, making this community better. How do you make a community better? How? I mean, we've been at it for. Mr. Nicholson has been at it for 20-some years. I've been at it for 20 years. There's so much things we can do. But on the end, we all got to work together. But it starts with us, the residents. It starts with us, first of all. We got to start pointing the finger at each other. This has been going on for, and I know that Mr. Nicholson is going to make a comment. It's been going on for 28 years. The reason why this community did not go and lost so many good projects, and I can name you some really good projects that were passed on for the past 15 years, because it was so divided. The commissioners here knew that there was all different groups. There was the business group, there was the developer groups, there was the resident group, there was this group, and everybody was pointing the finger at each other. The commissioners that saw that, they had a personal agenda. I pray God every morning they're not around anymore. And I can tell you that you know what? It's good that they're not around anymore, because they brought this town down. So again, to come back to what I'm trying to say is that we all got to work together. How? We all got to sit down and talk to each other. We all got to come up with some ideas. But at the end, we still got to go to who? To the people that we elect. The people that are able to tell us yes and no. We can come up with all the ideas you want, and believe me, I send ideas to the city, a lot, and 98% of them, it goes from one commissioner to the other commissioners, but at the end, you need the certain amount of majority vote to get things done. So it doesn't matter if it's the planning board. Planning board still has to send it to the commissioner board. So my point is, we all got to point the finger at who? To the commissioners. They're the one that have the I don't want to say the authority, but to be able to say yes. And I know, believe me, if somebody speaks out to the commissioners, is and she does all the time, and she gets her points across. So it's the commissioners that needs to hear it from the people. The people. We are formed here in this board over here because we want to be involved in our community. Do we all have time to sit here and to do all this? Yes, we do, because we want our community to look better, to get to the point where, I'm sure Mr. Berger would like to be with his family, but at the same time, he cares about the beachside, so he has to be here. Same thing with everybody else. So it's not like we all, enemies, or we're all fighting each other. No, we all got to work together. And how do you work together? I remember, if you look at when they form a circle and people hold hand, the power that circle does. And that's what I want to use. I want to use the power of people getting together and forming a group together. And like I said, I know I mentioned Mr. Nicholson 3 or 4 times today. I give him a lot of credit. I agree with him on a lot of things, and I disagree with him. But one thing he does all the time is speak his mind out when it's the time to talk to the commissioner, and I give him credit for that. A lot of people don't do that. So the point is, we all got to speak our mind out. We all got to work towards the commissioners and say, this is what we'd like to see happen. This is what we'd like to see happen. It's not, one person cannot do it all. This board cannot do it all. We can point the finger at all of us, or Mr. Berger, and we can point the finger at everybody. But at the end of the day, it's still got to go to the board that sits here on the Wednesdays. Right? On Wednesdays? On the Wednesdays. I'm sorry? First, yeah. So they're the decision makers. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Thank you very much for all coming. Meeting's adjourned.